We're here at the launch of the Kia Tasman in Bathurst, New South Wales on a positively balmy 1 degree morning. And for those of you who think this is a glamorous job, it's pretty bloody cold and the poor old camera guy's fingers are freezing off over there. So, the question for you, what do mermaids, unicorns and the Kia Tasman all have in common? Well, up until today, they're all mythical creatures that we hear about, but the Tasman is finally here. You can walk into a showroom and buy one. Have a good look at it. Now, the ute market in Australia is exceptionally competitive. We have more utes in Australia, I think, than anywhere else. We've got probably the toughest conditions in the world in terms of what these utes are used for, and there are more utes coming in almost every week at the moment. They range from some of the newer sort of lifestyle type utes like the BYD 6 Shark, and there's a Photon V7 and V9 coming up soon, through to the utes that you can actually option up and take up to Cape York. Now, the question is, where does the Kia Tasman sit in that sort of sliding scale of utes? Now, for those of you that only watch 30 seconds of videos and then cut out, let's cut to the chase. The Tasman is one of those utes that you can option up and take to the Cape York, give it the toughest conditions you can possibly find. For those of you who want to find out the reasons why, stick around and let's have a good look at it. So, first up, there are a number of utes in the range. They start from a 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive S, which is the entry-level model, and comes with a tray back and all that type of stuff. There's the SX, the SX Plus, which are very much aimed at the works type style utes. Then you've got the X line and this one, which is the X Pro, top of the line, aimed very much at the recreational 4-wheel drive market. Now, there is a difference in the bonnet and grille of these vehicles. This one, as I said, aimed at the 4-wheel drive market, so it has got a good approach angle that sits there with nothing down low. But the other utes, the S, the SX, the SX Plus, have a lower air down the front there. The reason being, it's for pedestrian safety. Now, those vehicles, we believe, or Kia believe, will get a very good ANCAP rating, but the X line and the X Pro won't have that, so they'll remain unrated. Now, there's a really interesting factor around in the wheel guards, so let's go and have a look at that. One of the things I do like are these sort of larger wheel arches. They give it a bit of character to the vehicle itself. Most of the vehicles will come with a different coloured wheel arch. Some are colour coordinated. The ones that don't have the colour coordination have a really clever fold down feature there that allows you to, I don't know, store some stuff. But I did talk to the Kia guy yesterday, and they're thinking of putting an onboard air compressor in there, which would be really cool actually. The vehicles, with the exception of the S, come with either 17-inch or 18-inch alloy wheels. The S comes with steel wheels. That's all fine. Across the top here, the vehicle itself will come with a number of choices for covers. Soft tonneau cover, a hard cover, there's a rollout which is either automatic or manual, and it also comes with a canopy as well, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. It's actually really cleverly designed in some of the areas here because you can undo these bits at the top and there's tie-down points that you can tie down through there. One feature I do like is this step here. So it gives access into the back of the ute, and that's rated for someone that's larger than the average bear like me. I can stand on that and sort of get access into the back. Now, if we have a look at the tailgate, it's actually got a soft opening option, and again rated for someone like me to be able to sit on that, so it's quite good. The X Pro tub is lined, and there's a couple of clever little features inside here which we'll have a look at. So, a couple of clever features here in the tub. You've got this sliding rail system which is good. It allows you to sort of adjust it to tie things down. You've got tie-down points here which are good, they're strong, they're robust, but they're not low down, which is an issue, because, and particularly at the front, they're up high. You need to be able to have it down low so you can tie things down. It is an issue with a couple of manufacturers that we've spoken about. There's a light in the back of the tub which is great, and there's also a 240 volt plug here which is 400 watts, 15 amps I think. Very clever. Again, Kia's done the work up front to get it right the first time round. The other thing Kia's done really well is the tow ball. It's rated to tow 3,500 kilos, which is great. The It's wired up for 12-pin plug, which is also good. Most of the ones so far have got 7-pin plug on it, and they sit it on top of the little bar, which protects the actual pin plug, which is great. And the inbuilt tow braking system in the Kia works well, and there's a lot of actually extra sort of stability control and that type of stuff for the towing. Again, done it right the first time round, which is good. Okay, let's have a look inside. So, looking inside, access is really easy. The doors open really wide. You've got a lot of storage down the bottom there for a large bottle. Great speakers, the Harman Kardon system. You've got the usual controls here on the side. One thing I do like is the fact that there's a bit of a gap there, so your point of your elbow will slot into there rather than in the actual sort of armrest itself. Soft touch there, which is great. I do particularly like this wide area up the top here. It's great to rest your arm on. I love these door handles. They're really cool. I know, they just look good and I love them. They're very tactile, which is great. The driver itself, you've got heated and ventilated seats. You've got steering wheel heater as well. The passenger side has heated seats, and the two outer rear seats are also heated as well. So they're really catering for comfort in this vehicle. There's grab handles everywhere to get in. Now, even though it's high, it's actually pretty easy to get in. And there's an incredible amount of headroom, which is fantastic. And in fact, at the reveal, we had Luke Longley sitting in one of these, who's probably another foot on me, and he was actually quite comfortable. So access is really easy, particularly in the back seats. The doors open really wide, and I can sit in the back, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Okay. So, once inside, seats especially comfortable, really are comfortable. The steering wheel is actually, it's an odd shape, but I like it. It's nice and thick. All the controls on there. You've got drive mode, you've got terrain mode, which is great. Gives good visibility towards the driver instrument binnacle as well. The centre sort of screen is divided into three sections. You've got the driver's instruments. You've got this middle section here, which is for the air conditioning controls. And you've got this larger section here to the side, where it's all the infotainment and connectivity type stuff. And we'll have a quick chat about that in a sec. Two different things in terms of the particular models. The X Line and X Pro, I think it is, have this sort of twisting dial type sort of transmission lever here with the start-stop button down there, which is an unusual spot. The other models have a normal T-bar, which you're used to, and a start-stop button there, which is probably a little bit more, you know, familiar, I guess. But it's like everything. As soon as you drive the vehicle yourself, you get used to your own vehicle, and that's what it is. I like the inside. They've done a really good job with the interior. This one's got a sunroof, which is great. You know, very large sort of sun visors. Good storage down here. You've got your wireless charging tray down here. There's wireless connectivity for smartphones, mirroring. Large areas for the cups, bottles. One really clever feature is this that folds over to give you a flat area, and particularly if you've got a laptop or you're working or you've got some sort of a clipboard or something, it's actually pretty cool. Nice and soft points on top, and the storage bay itself is quite large. So, and a nice little spot to slot your phone in there if you want to, or keys or anything else. One thing I do like is the fact that they've still got tactile buttons for the air conditioning controls here, so you're not searching through everything to get stuff. And when you are searching through the menu, the touch sensitivity of the screen is excellent. Kia did a really good job of that. And most of the menus are pretty easy to find. Typically of vehicles these days, for drivers like me, you've got to go through and turn off all the extra safety features. You know, the speed warning, the lane keep assist, all that type of stuff. So, but Kia's actually got a shortcut button on the steering wheel here that you can get to easily and do all that. You've got to do it every time, unfortunately, but that's just an old school guy like me. I'm not particularly fussed on this honeycomb type stuff, but I'm also known for not having the best taste in the world, so that's usual. We'll talk about the four-wheel drive controls shortly. Let's have a quick look in the back. Now, as I said before, access to the rear is really good. The doors open really wide, which is great. Again, grab handles everywhere. Now, the seats these are probably the best rear seats in any ute, I think. They're just really comfortable. Again, more for 2 than 3 people. There's a couple of clever little features. They'll slide out to give you more sort of a rake on the back, which is quite comfortable. There's also an ability to be able to lift up, and there's storage underneath, which is again quite clever. There are 2 ISOFIX points on the 2 outer seats, and top tether points, which you access by just pulling that down. So it's nice and simple and easy. Now, again, I'm 190 centimetres and slightly larger than the average bear, and I can fit in quite easily and sit, comfortably. Plenty of headroom, which is great. A couple of little features: USB ports in the back of both seats. There's a 240 volt, 400 watt 3-pin plug there as well. And these little zip type pockets, which are great. One thing I didn't mention earlier, but I absolutely love these headrests. They are so comfortable. They're just, again, best in the market. Love them. They're great. So for the X Pro, all the controls for the four-wheel drive down here. You've got 2 high, 4 automatic, 4 high, 4 low, which is great. And that's just simply a flick forward and back, which I'm not going to do it now because we can't. Got a stop to go into 4 low, which is usual. You've got diff lock here, which is great, and you've got X-Trek. And X-Trek is a particularly clever system that allows the vehicle to do all the work itself. We did some 4-wheel drive trails yesterday where they were particularly gnarly in terms of going up and down, and we did it twice. Once with, under the right foot, so the typical sort of 4-wheel drive driver. And I particularly decided I'd do it with X-Trek alone. And what that does, it allows the vehicle to do what it does best, and that's to maintain control of the vehicle going up and going down. And what'll happen is you'll find, the left wheel will start spinning, so they'll apply the brakes and put more sort of pressure into the right wheel. And it just removes a lot of that sort of slipping and spinning and all that type of stuff, which is not great for the vehicle and not great for the trails. A lot of vehicles have this type of stuff. This one works particularly well. The only thing I will say is that when you're actually trying to adjust it up and down, turning it off is like that, and that actually you can do that unknowingly. So there's probably a little bit of adjustment that needs to be done there. But again, the more you drive it, the more familiar you will become with it, and the more you'll use it normally. Now, I deliberately did this sort of crossover gully type section in 4 automatic. No 4 low, no diff lock, and our tyres are pretty much full of mud by this stage. So I wanted to see if we're going to get any sort of wheel slip and what was going to happen. We're getting just a little bit of wheel slip there, as you can see, and didn't want to push too hard because I didn't want to scrape the front, but it actually does it really well, and it sort of goes up the other side quite easily. Great articulation there, keeps the wheels on the ground pretty much at all times. Just shows how good this Tasman is off-road. Okay, let's look at the engines. 2.2 litre turbo diesel engine, 154 kilowatts of power, 440 newton meters of torque between 1750 and 2500. 80% of that comes in about 1500 revs. It's an 8-speed automatic transmission with torque converter straight out of the Stinger. Let's have a listen to just how quiet it is inside. There's very little diesel rattle at all, and there's very little noise from the road coming through. What we found is that the combination of the 8-speed automatic transmission and the engine was really responsive, especially on dirt roads like this. It made the ride exceptionally well. We're at Mount Panorama, of course, so when you're at Mount Panorama, what do? You take the Tasman for a lap around the track. Now, this is strictly at 60 kilometres an hour, I can assure you, mainly because we don't speed, and also because that local police and highway patrol absolutely love this area. But one thing it did show us is just how good the dynamics are on road. And, of course, we take our rundown Conrod straight for the checkered flag. Now, on-road dynamics are where the Tasman absolutely excels. On a normal back road, it is so quiet, so smooth. The wider track and the slightly longer wheelbase ensures that it sits very comfortably on the road. It likes those windy, hilly back roads because it's quite responsive. And the engine transmission combination, as I said, really extract the most out of each other. In fact, Tasman, because it's so quiet inside and so much like an SUV, it really makes a great long-distance tour. It's almost like you're driving a Carnival or Sorrento. It's that nice inside.
One of the biggest questions is, what does the Tasman like to tow? Now, it will tow big vans, but also on the test we did a 2300 pop-top caravan, which was an ideal weight. 25 to 2800 is probably where I'd top it out. There are inbuilt tow brakes, and also there is tow mode, which will change the mapping of the transmission to the engine, both uphill and downhill, hold gears longer, and it really works extremely well.
Commercial, hard-like commercial, and that's where the design started out of head office. They were building a vehicle for a utility, light commercial vehicle for the world market, and it was all about off-road performance and load carrying capacity and all that sort of thing. But as you know, Australia's the Olympic Games of utes, and we went up there and we told them exactly that. And they have done a lot of benchmarking, but some of the ride and a lot of the durability and everything was well and truly covered. But when we started to drive it, and as you'll all appreciate, the SUV market sort of encroached into the ute market. So in Australia, it's hard off-road utilitarian commercial vehicle, but it's stretched, that market demographic is stretched out to also be, you know, SUV levels of ride comfort and MBH and comfort and cabin and all that sort of thing. So to get the vehicle dynamics and get the chassis performance to cover such a wide demographic spread in the market without compromising the off-road performance, so one peg in the ground is a tough truck and stretch the lacquer band up to a nice SUV, that's where we had to do a lot of engineering. So it started right up the front.
Bull bar. And of course, here are those fog lights that I spoke about before. We have the front radar is embedded in here, and this is just for symmetry purposes, we've used the blanket plate there. If you look down lower, we have the braking recovery hooks down here that come with all bull bars, and each bull bar comes with a bash plate at the front. And so that bash plate that I mentioned earlier, the underbody protection actually bolts up to, you don't have to have a bull bar with it, but it connects well with this kind of bash plate here.
Couple of quick extra little features. They're great external mirrors with the cameras down the bottom. We've already seen how that applies when you're off-road. Excellent feature. You've got daytime running lights, LED lights and lower fog lights give excellent illumination at night time. Okay, let's wrap up. So there are a number of models in the range. I think pricing ranges from about a bit under $40,000 through to about $75,000. You know, they like to do the 999 plus all the usual costs. Look, it's well priced. It really is well priced compared to what people are going to be looking at. So the vehicle itself is good. Off-road is excellent. On-road dynamics are possibly the best of any ute in this class. They've done an excellent job in terms of, you know, the ride, the handling, the quietness inside the vehicle. They've done a first-class job in terms of doing this. So, if I'm looking to buy a ute, should I put this on the consideration list? If I'm looking to buy a serious four-wheel drive ute or a serious work ute, the answer is categorically yes. You really should put the Tasman on your consideration list, because it not only does it come with all those other features, but it comes with Kia's 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is, you know, it's great. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining us. If you like, please like down below. Don't forget to subscribe to us. There is an article that has all the details, which will be linked down below, so you can find out more about it. That's it for me today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.